Alright, what's up guys? Ego Leo here, and I got my boy Seth the Programmer on with me. Say what's up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Seth the Programmer isn't here today. I'm taking the place. He kind of died.
Damn.
Just so y'all know, he didn't actually really die. We don't even know the dude.
Yeah, it's just like a bit. Anyways, would you like to tell the good people what the topic for today is?
Why Android 21 is best girl in Dragon Ball? Oh wait, no, that's the topic for the next video. Why Deku is gonna get bodied by Ruby?
Okay, I don't know if that's what we agreed on, but so yeah, we're basically gonna death battle style see who would win between Ruby Rose and Izuku Midoriya.
It's Izuku.
Shut the fuck up.
No, you butchered his name.
I see you talking about Yu Yu Hakusho, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
So y'all know, okay, beat Goku though.
I want you guys to know we spent like several hours messing around, like off like camera. Like it was.
Plus, it's a Sunday. I don't feel like being serious right now, so.
Oh, dude, definitely not. This was never meant to be like super serious. All right, so we're gonna talk about how All Might beats Goku today.
That's the topic for the 15th video.
Oh shoot, you're right. I forgot. I still have to. I still gotta edit that one.
Just so you know that you guys have 21 hentai, feel free to tag me at Epitark64 on YouTube.
All right.
What?
So...
I mean the freaking sauce.
Dude, no, I respect that. Like, I way respect that.
All right, good.
And, all I'm saying is...
Yeah, if you have any Neptunian sauce, I'd like you to bring that right here, because I'd really appreciate that, you know, like... I really like that kind of thing, you know what I'm saying?
So you got your facts pulled up for Izuku?
Shut up. Okay, so Izuku Midoriya is, you know, like, at 4 years old, he could definitely have beaten Ruby, like, because you didn't know if he was going to have a quirk yet. He could have had a quirk.
I feel like Ruby always had a semblance her entire life, so she would slap 4-year-old.
I'm saying 4-year-old Deku would whoop on 4-year-old Ruby. That is what I'm saying.
But Ruby had her semblance.
Nah, I don't want to hear it. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna get into, like, I guess, like, seriousness now. So, like, I guess first we'll go over, like, strength feats, like, back, like, early in the show, you know, obviously when he still didn't have control over his quirk, he, like, destroyed that giant metal robot.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that's really friggin' impressive. And also, when he had more control over it, he, like, made a building-sized explosion by flicking. So, and that's not even bringing up, like, so at 8%, he's moving, like, you know, he's keeping up with, like, Bakugo's explosions and stuff. Which, like, makes him, like, I think the speed of sound. I don't know. I'm not smart like that. But it makes him pretty friggin' fast. At, like
with the quirk, like, increasing the speed.
Yeah. Like, at 8%, he's keeping up with, like, Bakugo's explosions like that. And
in season 1, in season 1, Deku got slapped by Bakugo.
In season 1, like, their first fight, like, Deku literally, like, showed that he could have beat him, but he was helping out Uraka instead.
Yeah, but like even when Deku Deku at the time could only punch once, or else his bones were broken because he didn't know how to like all he knew was how to go 100%, nothing else. And like he tried to like
even like he was
I
trying
think
not
even-
to use his quirk, right?
But even when he was trying to escape from Bakugo, like Bakugo was still like blasting him all around, like he was smacking him.
Yeah. But like I don't know, that shows more that Deku's like he is a smarter fighter. Like he's very good at like analyzing his opponents and finding like other ways to win that aren't just brute force. Which is crazy because he does have the brute force. Like, we're not even bringing up like 100% Deku literally smacking around a skyscraper level like overhaul.
Well, then
Which, like, that's 100%.
I don't think overhaul was skyscraper busting level. Overhaul was definitely city busting level.
No, like what I'm saying is like how he was like a building size like person. Like in like that monster form he had, and Deku's still like slapping him through the air in 100%.
Oh yeah,
and like I know 100% like you can't use that consistently, but like that's still something like to bring up.
yeah.
So why don't you go over Ruby's strength feats? So like for Deku we have like large building to maybe city block level, like at 100%.
Yeah, that's not even
And
including
at 8%,
the
like with his flicks, like is like building level, like single building level.
That's not even mentioning his manga counterpart, where like later on in the manga, like he's a lot stronger. But
Yeah,
just for
I
the
didn't
sake
even
of
know about
fairness,
that. Like,
but
I
just
don't
for the
keep
sake
up
of
with the
fairness,
manga.
yeah, I do. But just for the sake of fairness, we're only using anime Deku because Ruby's manga is actually behind. Because I think Ruby's manga right now is on volume 5 or 6, while the anime is going into volume 8 in like a few months. So,
Yeah.
but
So, do you want to go over Ruby's like physical strength feats or like?
Yeah, I'll go over Ruby's physical strength feats. She's really weak. And I'm not even joking. Because I rewatched Ruby just recently because I tend to rewatch anime just to keep stuff fresh in my mind, and I realized throughout the entire series, the times where she didn't have her signature weapon, Crescent Rose, which we're going to be getting to weapons later, the whole time she did not have her Crescent Rose, she was rendered useless. Like, take the tournament arc, aka Volume 3, for example. When Pyrrha accidentally killed Penny, Ruby tried to escape to go down and save Penny and is stopped by Mercury. Mercury is one of the villains, and he a kicky boy. Ruby reached for Crescent Rose, didn't have it, and she got bodied by Mercury to the point where she had to run away using her semblance. And then later on, through volume 4, 5, 6, and 4, 5, and 6, every single time Ruby like lost her scythe or her scythe got knocked out of her hands, she always went to grab her scythe because she knew she could not do anything without her scythe. It got to a point where in volume 7, Yang straight up told Ruby that she has to learn how to fight without using Crescent Rose. And even the old lady in season 6, I forgot her name. It's the one that had the silver eyes as well. She even told.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I like to. I like how literally earlier you said you didn't feel like being serious, and you're like going off, right? Like you're spitting mad facts.
Well, it's Ruby. Right?
I mean, this is true. This is
Maria, that's her name, Maria.
Ah, gotcha.
So she tells Ruby that she's doing like you rely too much on your weapons, and Maria even tells Ruby about the story how like she relied too much on her weapons, and that actually ended up costing her her eyes. So the fact that old lady and Ruby's own older sister is telling Ruby that she needs to like learn how to physically fight just shows that Ruby's physical strength is not the best. when she has her scythe, she's really like she shows her real feats when she has her scythe. But like I said, we'll get to her weapons in a little bit. But in terms of physical strength, Deku has Ruby beat. Like Ruby could probably punch like just like a regular teenage girl, while Deku can literally like destroy Trump Tower if he wanted to.
Okay, what do you think about like attack potency though? Like how hard her attacks like with her scythe hit?
I'll get to her attacks with her scythe. Well, no, because in her red trailer and throughout the series she was shown to like make her punches and kicks stronger through like propelling herself off her scythe gunshot.
Yeah.
So and I'm going based off the red trailer because she doesn't really use it a lot throughout the series. In her red trailer, which is like basically like the trailers that with all the Ruby girls like showing off their skills, she is shown to jump off her scythe with the gun. Like she shoots the gun on her scythe, which propels her off it, and she kicks a Grim in the face and sends that Grim flying. And just as like you know, Grims are basically monsters in Ruby that are like extremely powerful. Grims have skulls on their faces, and Grims are just these weird. It's really hard to explain it, but throughout the whole entire series, we've seen them shoot like gunfire at Grim, and it doesn't do damage to them whatsoever. They would just the Grim would get irritated, but it would just shake them off. So I'm about to look up the force, and most of the things were like these like really powerful guns. So let's just dumb it down and say that these gunfires are the force of a assault rifle bullet.
Yeah.
All right. And like I said, these forces aren't doing anything to Grim. The force of assault rifle, let's just go with an AK. An AK bullet can deliver 340 pounds of force, which means basically the Grim are having constant 340 pounds of weight being pushed against them, and they're not tiny, just weights pushed against them, and they're not flinching. Meanwhile, Ruby propelling herself off her scythe and kicking a Grim sent that Grim flying, and it was right in the Grim's space where the Grim's skull is. So with that, I could tell using her scythe, her kicks at least. We haven't really seen her like propel her punches, but we have seen her propel kicks. We can say that her kicks can deliver more than, and it takes a lot of gunshots for a Grim to be like hurt.
Right.
So let's just look up how much bullets are in a mag of an AK.
Is that what they were using?
No, I'm just dumbing it down to see like if they're using assault rifles.
Oh, okay.
Like, they're using.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So there's 30 rounds of bullets in an AK. So we take 30 times 360 pounds? I think so. 360 pounds. So Grim are not affected by a total of 10,800 pounds of force being shot against them. And Ruby, like I said, Ruby with her kick was able to send a Grim flying. So but Grim do get irritated and Grim are injured after a lot of shots. So let's just say that Ruby's kick potency is probably, like, and with her scythe, we're propelling herself out of her scythe. Let's just say it's probably times 2 of that, since Grim still get hurt from it, but like not enough to like have them like send them flying. Let's just say it's times 2, which means Ruby's kick can deal 21,600 pounds of force, and this is pre-season 1 Ruby, because the red trailer takes place before the series first began.
Right.
So this is pre-season 1 Ruby, and Ruby has gotten a lot stronger throughout the entire series. So it's hard to say how strong her kicks are now. But throughout the series, she's been shown mainly training with her scythe and her semblance, and then after season 3, trained with her eyes. So she has never gotten. Yang even told Ruby that she needs to practice on her physical combat.
Dang,
so
you look so. You're almost making me look bad because I had so little to say about Deku, and you're like, damn.
Well, I'm just going on because it's just like I get kind of serious when it comes to waifus.
Oh no, I feel you. Like, I don't know. I just feel like, damn, I didn't contribute much.
You're up next though.
All right, so we're doing speed now.
Well, yeah. Hold on. I just want to touch up on Ruby. I would say that her kick potency is probably the same as it was before, since she hasn't really practiced. I probably think it's a little bit stronger because obviously she has to work out throughout the series to stay fit. But like,
yeah.
And as for her punches, I would say her punches are just that of a normal. She's 17 now, so I'd say punches that of a normal 17, like a more of a fit 17-year-old girl, because.
So like when you get kicked after being rejected.
Yeah. So because she can't really, I'm trying to think of it. I can't think of a way that she can propel her punches off her scythe, when she's holding the scythe.
Right. I don't feel like there's a way to do that. I feel like it would mainly be like kicks.
Yeah, so I'd say her punches are her weak spot, but her kicks are like what is really powerful.
Okay.
But all right, you're up next.
Okay, so we're going into speed. So speed for Deku is like, I don't know, it's weird because you can't really scale him to Ida, which is like the main kind of speed guy of he's the only one with like a speed quirk. But like, okay, so he was racing against Bakugo and Todoroki, right? Bakugo was propelling himself with these explosions.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Deku with like one smash was able to propel himself, but then later, like I said, he was swapping hands with Bakugo at like 8%. So all of that is to say, like, you know, Bakugo can go like really fast with his explosions, but Deku is definitely faster than that. And if I look it up here,
thing is, Deku's actually faster than Ida, because during the Stain fight, Stain was easily able to slash Ida, but Stain had trouble laying a hit on Deku. Even Stain was like, "Yo, like this guy's really fast."
right?
And I just looked up Ida's top speed. Ida's top speed is 36.75 miles per hour, which means Deku's a lot faster than a speeding car, at least.
Right. And you know, we can bring that even further with 100%, where like even with Night Eye's clairvoyance, he couldn't really tell what Deku was doing.
Which means Deku's faster than the eye can see.
Right.
At 100%.
Yeah. So he can go that fast. He can also like, you know, propel himself with his like, you know, obviously he can go 100% for like 1 second and like boost, but then like, you know, he'd like injure himself. But
so I'm about to look.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm about to look up how fast you have to go, because you kind of mentioned like how Night Eye couldn't see Deku move at 100%. So I'm kind of looking at like how fast you have to.
Yeah,
okay.
And like, it would be even faster than that though, because like he has extra like, you know, he can literally see the future.
Yeah.
So like Deku was literally like, I wouldn't say like, I'd say supersonic at most.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It says supersonic.
Yeah, okay. So Deku, like, at 100% is supersonic levels. You know, 20%, obviously, you know, it's easier to calculate that because of how, like, you know, 100% is supersonic, 20% is 20% of supersonic. You get the idea.
Yeah.
So for speed, Deku is sitting comfortably around that range. So
So Deku at 100% is around Mach 1.
yes. And damn, I'm really like, it's really gonna suck going into this because like Ruby's whole thing is speed, but why don't you go in for Ruby?
Honestly, this may seem surprising, but I don't have a lot to say about Ruby because all of it was kind of shown during Volume 7. So, what's unique about Ruby's semblance is her semblance is super speed, but it's like a more steroid version of it because not only does she have super speed, she can also break herself up into little petals,
Right.
and then come back together. And we've seen Ruby do like a bunch of like feats in the first 3 seasons with her speed, but she never used it a lot. Like in season 3, she was really slow because when she tried to use her super speed to dash past Mercury, Mercury was still able to kick her down to the ground. He even mentioned how she was too slow. So basically, Ruby in season 3, before the series got really serious, was still fast. Her semblance was still fast for someone to react. Like, granted, Mercury's whole semblance was he can react really fast, but still, like, her semblance was still like seeable. She can still react. Like, you can still react to her speed.
Right.
But then, after season 4, when stuff like kicks off, like when shit hits the fan, Ruby has been using her semblance speed more and more and more. And I feel like the first impressive feat of this was actually at the beginning of season 4 when her Nora, John, and I keep forgetting his name. It's Nora's boyfriend. Hold on. He's not. He doesn't have a lot of screen time.
Right.
It's Ren. So when Ruby was with Nora, Ren, and John, they fought this like weird Grim in the forest that like shot these laser things, and Ruby was able to dodge the lasers. And just going by like classic fictional comic book type of deal, lasers are almost as fast as like a blink of an eye, and that's already like it's not technically like at speed of sound just yet, because that's what Deku's top speed is, at 100% speed of sound.
I'd also like to preface that by saying, like, that's just how fast you have to go, like, to be faster than the human eye. And
yeah,
Deku was, since his main thing was seeing the future, that he's easily faster than that, though.
Yeah.
So, like, he's much faster, but that's, like, a good place to put him is around that range. I just want to preface that by saying, because I know everyone's going to be like, but Night Eye
special eyes, he can see the future.
So, yeah, but like, I just wanted to bring that up real quick.
So, if Ruby was faster to dodge a Grim, if Ruby was fast enough to dodge a Grim laser, she would be faster as I can see. Which doesn't make sense because the replicated in season 4, while season 3, her speed was sucked. So, I had to argue that her speed that she used against Mercury in season 3 was not her top speed. I feel like she just used that, like, quick to get, like, just to get past Mercury and just automatically underestimated him because she had to get to her scythe. But I feel like when she was actually in battle and serious, she was able to dodge that, like, Grim. So I feel like the beginning of season 4 Ruby was fast than a blink of an eye, which faster than a blink of an eye. I think it's like it's not speed of sound level yet because you can still they were still able to see Ruby, but it's pretty damn fast. I would feel like I feel like her speed would probably be the speed of not necessarily a race car like on a race, because usually like race cars like you blink your eye and like the car's like on the other side of the track.
Right.
But I believe I believe it'd be faster because like you take the speed of a laser. I feel like a laser would be able to just like shoot like a race car. So I feel like Ruby would be like probably the level, like probably the speed of a jet.
Yeah.
I feel like that makes more sense. Like season 4 Ruby would be the speed of a jet.
Yeah.
And
that
then
makes sense.
And then over the next few volumes, Ruby's just only gotten faster and faster. And I feel like when her speed really peaks is in season 7, the most recent season. Team Ruby teams up with this other team at Atlas, and there's a girl whose semblance is lightning speed, and she's basically training Ruby to get faster. And Ruby is like, they make it painfully obvious that Ruby is a lot slower than this lightning speed girl, and even Ruby is like, I gotta get faster.
Right.
Because
I didn't watch season 7, so
yeah,
that's a big loss on me.
So and then throughout the season, this girl's trained Ruby, and at the end of the season, this is a little slight spoiler for if you haven't seen season 7 Ruby or Ruby at all. The team betrays Team Ruby, and Ruby fights the girl with that speed. Ruby was able to outpace her, not by a lot. Like, I think she was right behind Ruby, but Ruby was still able to outpace her. It was kind of like a reverse Flash versus Flash type of deal. Like, Flash was faster than Reverse Flash, but Reverse Flash was like right there.
Right.
It was kind of like that. Like, Ruby was faster than this girl.
Like some substantial amount.
No, it was just like a tad bit. So I'm about to look up how fast is lightning speed. So lightning speed travels almost near the speed of light.
Yeah.
So if Ruby was faster than this girl whose semblance was about her traveling the speed of light, then you could argue that if Ruby outpaced her, granted this was at a moment when Ruby was really pissed off. Because of like the betrayal and like them hurting Yang, because Ruby is
like
overprotective.
Kind of a rage, silver eyes boost sort of thing.
Well, she didn't have her silver eyes activated, but she was pissed off. You would argue, like she's pissed off, so she only reaches lightning speed at this. But you gotta remember, 100% Deku is also a temporary boost of his, and he can't stay in that form for long. So if we're using 100% Deku, then it'd be fair to use pissed off Ruby's top speed as well.
Right.
So I would say pissed off.
Being mad would necessarily make you faster.
I mean, no, because being mad automatically like increases everyone because so much adrenaline is running in your body.
I mean, yeah, but like
we're going off topic here. I'm gonna go to like a different anime for reference. You guys probably already know where this is going. The king of all getting mad equals more power anime, Dragon Ball. Take Gohan for example. In the Frieza arc, second form Frieza was beating down on Gohan really hard. Like second form Frieza was toying around with Gohan, basically torturing him.
Yeah.
Third form Frieza, that was almost about to kill Piccolo, pissed off Gohan so much that Gohan was bodying him to the point where Frieza was like, "That's it, I'm going to my final form."
No, he went third first.
No, I'm talking about like the third form. Remember, like, because second form Frieza was bodying Gohan, and then when Frieza went third form, when fighting Piccolo and started beating Piccolo, Gohan like punched Frieza in the gut and shot that giant blast down at him.
Yeah.
So like I would argue that rage boost in general just give you like it kind of just goes for everyone in general too. Like usually when people like in real life too, when they get mad, like they automatically just become stronger or everything because there's so much adrenaline rushing in your body.
Yeah, I got you.
So I would argue that like Ruby,
Dr. Braden over here.
Wait, what?
I said Dr. Braden over here.
Yeah, come to my clinic. I'll diagnose you with a corona. All right.
Topical.
Indeed, increase some cases in the U.S. But I would argue like pissed off Ruby would be like lightning speed, which is almost the speed of light. But I feel like casual Ruby, like because Ruby's usually always happy and bubbly. I would argue that Ruby, like in her happy state, or her like, or just like her like serious state, even when fighting, I feel like that'll be hypersonic speed. Yeah. So like, kind of like 1/4 of the speed of light.
Yeah.
But because the speed of lightning that Ruby travels, it's not necessarily the speed of light. It's not there, but it's like it's almost. So I would argue that like her regular self is like hypersonic speed, while her pissed off self reaches the speed of light. So I feel like when Ruby and Deku were to face each other, like Deku wouldn't be able to hit Ruby unless he went 100%. And I feel like he would be able to like. I feel like he'd be close to hitting Ruby because Supersonic is pretty close to Hypersonic. So yeah. I I feel like Deku would be close to hating Ruby, but I feel like in the end, Ruby would just like get so serious to the point where she kind of gets mad and then is able to go speed of light.
Yeah. So yeah, we kind of have speed down. You want to go into like equipment?
Oh, I just had to mention one thing.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
In terms of power, we said that MUI Goku has finally reached the speed of light. So that moment when we realized the fucking teenage girl with a sight is faster than
Okay.
Goku with all of his
I have a
forms,
little bit of a
except for
problem with
Ultimate
that.
Instinct.
I have a problem with that. I'd argue like Goku in the Frieza saga was speed of light, because like
Yeah, I feel like Goku pre-decided with speed of light. It's just
no, I got you. Yeah.
We say that MUI Goku's speed of light has been like memed on for so long.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah,
That's
just a
some,
disclaimer.
like,
I do
screw
not.
attack shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I just a disclaimer. I do not feel like Ruby's faster than Ultra Instinct Goku. I'm not crazy. So, yeah. So equipment. You go first because Deku has like has an arsenal of equipment on him.
Not really an arsenal. He has like 2 or 3 things that do like, that like helps him out.
Mm-hmm.
So I closed out of my notes earlier. I don't know why.
Imagine close down your notes. Could it be me?
I don't. I'm so ashamed. Okay, here we go. Equipment. Alright. So, Deku, like, switched to shoot style, and he has, like, these iron soles in his shoes now. So, obviously he has those, which, it's not anything, like, too fancy, but they're there.
I mean, it helps him. Actually, the shoes, they help him, like, they also, like, reduce the force of force of damage on his feet, so, like, when he kicks something, it won't hurt his feet.
Yeah.
But also, it does make Deku faster, so you can argue that, like, 100% Deku's, like, if 100% Deku has a shoot style equipment, he could actually be faster than, like, a little bit faster than Supersonic.
Yeah. And he has the
Air Forces.
The Air Force Ones.
That's literally the name of his, like, gauntlets. Like that. That, like.
Oh, they are called Air Forces, aren't they?
Yeah. So.
That was hilarious.
So, yeah, May made him these, like, gauntlets. So he could basically use his, like, projectile, like, flick things without, like, injuring himself. Giving him, like, long range attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. I did have on a side note here that, but, like, this was only the movie, the full gauntlet that let him use his, like, full power smashes without, like, injuring his arm. Like, obviously we're not counting that, but, like, I just like that movie, so I brought it up anyways.
No, I feel like that should be used just because, like,
Really?
it is.
Because, like, that's, like, very not canon.
Yeah, but, like, that equipment is breakable because, like, after, like, 3 of 100% Deku's punches, that equipment was, like, destroyed.
Yeah.
Like, that shit
I don't know. I
disintegrated.
know I'm on Deku's side, but I still don't think that's, like, fair to let him use. Like, purely because, like, non-canon.
That is true. Okay.
Both of the My Hero movies were fire, but, like, I don't know. I just kind of had that there as, like, a side note.
Yeah. Is that it for Deku's equipment, actually?
Huh?
Is that it for Deku's equipment?
Yeah, that's all he really has. Like, he has his, like, costume or whatever, but, like...
I mean, that costume, like...
Go ahead.
I mean, his costume, even though he never uses it, even though he uses it more of as, like, a freaking necklace type of deal, his, that mouth guard kind of, like, protects his mouth and his nose. That metal thing.
Right. I didn't even think of that, because he never, like...
He never uses it. He only used it, like, once when he disguised himself like in front of Overhaul, so like he wouldn't like show Overhaul's identity, but like he never uses it.
Yeah, right?
It can be used as a mouth guard, but like I feel like he just wouldn't use it because he doesn't use it in like general.
Yeah.
He doesn't even use it. He doesn't even use it in major fights. Like this guy pulled up to Overhaul in 20% and didn't even use it.
Right. So, yeah, no, that's it for Deku's equipment. Like, long-range attacks and the Iron Souls to hit harder and also, you know, like, kind of protect him from damaging himself. So, you can go into Ruby's equipment if you would like.
Thing is, Ruby doesn't really have. Ruby literally has only one equipment.
Well, right, but like that's her major thing is her weapon.
Yeah, that's her bread and butter.
Yeah, right. Like, I feel like there is like quite a bit to say because like Crescent Rose is a quite versatile weapon.
Oh yeah, Crescent Rose is overpowered. So, first of all, Crescent Rose is a scythe. Who doesn't love scythes? I love scythes. Everyone loves scythes. She automatically gets
Soul Leader did it first.
I'm sorry. Everyone loves scythes.
Yeah, but Soul Leader did it first.
No, shut up. It's not a good anime.
Oh, okay. We swapping now. We might have.
We can swap on another podcast about that.
Okay, we can. All right, go on.
So Crescent Rose, I couldn't mention how much force Crescent Rose has because she literally like Crescent Rose rips off Grim heads. Like I said, Grim heads are like strong enough to withstand 10,000 like pounds of force, and Crescent Rose rips off their heads like it's nothing. But I'll get to Crescent Rose's most impressive feat in a little bit.
Okay. Save best for last. I feel you on that.
Yep. And it's odd because Crescent Rose's most impressive feat was shown in season 1 in the first episode.
Really? Okay, now I'm kind of curious, actually.
Not the first episode, but like the third episode, I meant.
Okay.
So,
by the way, we didn't like script or talk about any of this beforehand, so like I am legitimately like wondering.
Yeah. So Crescent Rose is like Ruby's main weapon. It's something she goes to. Like, basically, take a look at it this way. Ruby at 100% power. It's Ruby with her Crescent Rose. Ruby at 1% power. Just Ruby. That's basically her Crescent Rose is basically 99% of her power.
Well, but like,
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm exaggerating because she obviously has her speed in her eyes, which we'll get to in a little bit. But
yeah,
no, but still, Crescent Rose is Ruby's like main thing. Like that's everything she goes to. Like, and Crescent Rose can basically just kind of do everything. Crescent Rose is a scythe, but it's also not only is it a shotgun, but it's also a sniper. So basically, her Crescent Rose has three modes actually. One where she fully turns it into a scythe and can slash around with the scythe. Then there's one mode where she puts her scythe down, like the sharp part, like the sharp blade part on the ground, and she shoots it like a shotgun. And then her third mode is when she has the scythe closed, but it has a scope on it, like a sniper.
Right.
So Ruby has basically a sniper, a shotgun, and a scythe all in one thing, which is actually really badass. Now, you gotta remember, in the end, both Deku and Ruby, even though they have powers, in the end, they're still human. So
hold on.
They can get injured by bullets.
I'll be right back.
Oh, why are you gonna leave in the middle of it?
What?
No, I'm gonna. Wow, he really gonna leave like that?
I don't see it.
It's all the way back there.
I see how it be.
Yeah, no, it's not under the tub.
Yes, it's all the way. I can see it from looking behind the tub. It's a white bottle, square bottle.
Oh, this?
Yes.
Alright, I'm back.
Are you back?
Yeah.
Alright. So, no, so Crescent Rose has done like a lot of saves. Like there's not really like a lot of major feats I can say about Crescent Rose besides the fact that it could literally rip off like the regular Grim heads with no problem. But like I said, in the end, Deku and Ruby are still humans in the end, so they could get injured by something like a bullet. So Ruby's bullet can actually injure Deku. Granted, it would be more of a gamble.
My thing is, like, you know, his quirk obviously, like, boosts up his durability as well as his strength.
I mean, yeah, but, like, you gotta remember, Deku got, like, hurt by Stain, and Stain only took a regular blade and cut him on the cheek.
I mean, yeah, but that was also his quirk, like, kind of, like, you know, paralyzing him.
I mean, yeah. Then again, I guess you could say like I guess you could argue like a bullet would like hurt Deku a lot, but like Deku would still like
I'm
toughen
not
through
saying
the
he's
pain.
immune to bullets or anything. I just don't think, like, you know, one bullet and he's down sort of thing.
Yeah, I feel like Deku would like toughen through the pain because he has fought with the broken arm. Like for example, when he fought Muscular.
Yeah.
And we'll get to durability later. All right, we're kind of like
yeah.
So. No, so Ruby, like, she has she has a bunch of arsenals. Not only that, but as we talked about at the beginning, Ruby can propel herself using the shotgun part of her scythe. So, like, what she does is she stands on her scythe and shoots it. And as she's shooting it, like, she's flying, like, on her scythe. And then she, like, can jump off her scythe and, like, with the force of that, hurt her enemies. So her scythe can be used as a propeller. Like I said, she has ranged attacks. She can also deflect things, like she's deflect Cinder's blades, and just as like you know, Cinder's blades are no joke. Let's just you all know Pyrrha? She got hit by Cinder's blade.
You're gonna do that.
Pyrrha got hit by Cinder's blade. Pyrrha got hit by Cinder's blade, and she kind of dusted away like Spider-Man. And
dog.
Not to mention that
memes, man.
Hey, still be using them.
I guess, man. Like,
not to mention that Cinder is also a fall maiden. Now, for those who haven't watched Ruby, when you're a maiden, you're practically God, because you have you have one of the 4 powers in the world that can stop Salem, and Salem's basically this immortal like goddess that can fuck up your shit. And Cinder has one of these powers, and not only that, but Cinder's so powerful that she was able to scare a reality warper just by powering up. This reality warper is Neo, best girl. And all Cinder did was just power.
Yang, though?
Okay, but what about Yang's mom, Raven? MILF?
We do not see eye to eye. We definitely do not.
Hey, I love Raven, alright?
Like, Raven's
I don't know why people
I
don't know why people hate Raven so much. She's one of my favorite characters. She's literally like my 3rd favorite character, actually. Actually, 2nd. Because my first favorite... No, actually, Raven's my favorite character. It goes Raven, Ruby, then Neo.
Really?
Holy shit. Yeah. Huh. But no, so
that's interesting.
Yeah, so Cinder has the power of basically like one of the goddesses, and her blades can literally turn anything into dust, and Ruby's able to deflect that with her Crescent Rose. I know we weren't getting to durability, but since we're on equipment, the fact that Crescent Rose can deflect basically a weapon of God. There's no really real way to scale Cinder's blades, because it only uses a few times, and like the times it works, like it completely disintegrates an enemy. But the fact that Crescent Rose is able to deflect it and not be disintegrated can show that Crescent Rose has a fair durability.
Yeah.
So I feel like Crescent, if Deku were to punch Ruby and Ruby were to block using her Crescent Rose, I would honestly feel like Crescent Rose would be able to withstand it. Ruby, granted, it would probably send Ruby flying, but I feel like Crescent Rose wouldn't be damaged. Because Crescent Rose deflects blades of a goddess.
Yeah.
Now, going on Crescent Rose's biggest feat, which is actually in Season 1, and Ruby, like I said, Ruby has gotten stronger, and Ruby has put upgrades to her... Like, in Season 7, Atlas personally upgraded Ruby's weapons. They got him a new drip, and they personally upgraded all their weapons. So, Ruby's scythe is stronger than this, but we never... Wait, what?
They didn't have a Mei, though, to help them out. Or Mai, or whatever her name is. The chick who upgraded, like, Class 1A stuff in My Hero.
Oh. I mean, yeah, but, like, they do say they put a lot of upgrades to their weapons, so we do know Crescent Rose is a lot stronger, but we haven't seen the full capabilities of Crescent Rose yet. The only full capability we saw was her old Crescent Rose before we got the upgrade in Season 7, and that was in Season 1, Episode 3. They were in a training camp before, like, it was like an initiation for the school to get into Beacon. And they fought a giant bird Grimm. And just, like, let you scale how big this bird is, Ruby was smaller than its beak. Like if you saw, like, Ruby was straight up smaller than its beak. And so, there was a scene where Ruby propels herself, so her sister Yang throws her, and Ruby propels herself using Crescent Rose. Crescent Rose latches around this giant Grim bird, and Ruby runs up the wall, pulling this giant Grim. So, we do know that Ruby is strong. Like, it wasn't just Crescent Rose pulling, like, because Ruby was also pulling the weight of this bird. And Ruby was running up a wall, pulling the neck of this bird. When Ruby got to the top, she basically sliced the Grim bird's head off, no problem. Like, she was running, granted, when she was running up, she did have to, like, constantly use the gun propellers to keep the power going. But when she got to the top, Crescent Rose sliced off the head of that bird Grim, no problem. And
she's strong in the stonks, but in the end, she gonna get tonked. Bars.
Oh yeah, dude. Next Kanye West. You ready for president in 2024?
Hell yeah.
So, and just to know that regular Grim, and this was the head of this Grim bird. So it still is the head, still the skull part. Because on the Grim, the skull, it also goes down to their spine. So their spine, you can argue that their spine are just as durable. So, if a regular Grim, and these were these small Grims that Ruby was fighting in her red trailer, if they could handle the force of, if it took the force of 10,000 pounds to injure them, you can argue Crescent Rose could do some pretty major damage. Like, I honestly don't know how to scale Crescent Rose because they never really scaled how powerful that bird Grim was. But just like the size of that bird Grim, you can argue that Crescent Rose is easily
stronger than the average, like, dog running around Grim.
Yeah. Like, yeah, you could argue that Ruby's Crescent Rose is not only extremely durable, but also extremely powerful. Like, I honestly believe that Crescent Rose could slash a house in half. Like, with no effort.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about like a little ranch house. I'm talking about like a big house. And I feel like Crescent Rose would even do more than that, to be honest. And as I mentioned, in Season 3, with the invasion of Beacon, and actually, you know what? Since we want to go into more newer feats, in Volume 7, Ruby. So it took the whole Ruby team and Team Juniper all working together to fight the Grim Invasion at Atlas. And this was even in the trailer for, like, the preview for Season 7. All of Team Ruby and all of Team Juniper were working together to fight these Grim, while Ruby completely went off on her own and was taking on a bunch of Grim while just slashing them all up with her scythe. Not to mention that she would also slash off the legs of a elephant Grim later on in the season, and apparently, according to Crow, which is Ruby's like uncle, which is probably may or may not be her actual father.
That's
is-
a topic for another day, there, buddy.
yeah. The Elephant Grim skulls have a lot of durability, like more durability than the average Grim. And the fact that and the Atlas people, they don't have just regular gun. Like they're fully on using laser guns. So laser guns are obviously more powerful than just simple bullets. And it wasn't doing anything to these elephants. And Ruby was able to cut off the leg of this Elephant Grim, no problem. So you could argue that Crescent Rose, it's really, really hard to scale Crescent Rose because they never really put a lot of scaling on like these Grim. But it's safe to say that if Crescent Rose could probably land one slash on Deku.
Yeah.
Have you looked at them tadpoles lately?
Yeah, they're dead, huh?
No.
No?
They're growing legs.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. Okay. You have to check them out.
Yeah. Continue.
Okay. So, no, you can argue very well that one slash from Crescent Rose would probably if Ruby got one clean slash on Deku would probably cut in half.
Yeah. So
I
goes
honestly,
into... Okay, go ahead.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I feel like if I want to scale how powerful Crescent Rose is, I have to say that honestly, there's no. Actually, there is an attack from another anime that I could probably scale Crescent Rose to how like sharp it is. 2 attacks actually. I'll probably scale Crescent Rose sharpness to a full power Destructo Disc from Dragon Ball, or a full power Tensho from Bleach.
I don't know, like, a Getsuga Tensho is more like a blast. Like, it's like in the shape of a slash, yes, but it is more of like a blast.
So like scaling Crescent Rose to like a full power Destructo Disc is like more believable.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and just like you guys let you know, like Destructo Disc is actually overpowered as shit in Dragon Ball. Just Krillin doesn't use it well. Just to let you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, long story short, Crescent Rose gets one clean slash on Deku. Deku's dead.
Right, and we can go into this next thing then. Durability. Durability is like a pretty short one because like Deku's thing is almost like adrenaline. Like he's more durable when he has like his, when he's using his quirk.
Yeah.
Like he's tanked like point blank explosions from like Bakugo and stuff like. But when he like powers back down, which he eventually, obviously has to, even though he's always at a constant like 8%, like if he goes like 20% or like especially 100%, he is putting like his body in like danger.
Deku's basically a walking Kaioken.
Yes. So yeah, like 8% Deku is large explosion level. Like
the thing is, even with larger,
I could like bring up a feat for this, right? This is when he had like 0 control over his quirk.
So season 1?
Season 1, yeah. When he fought Bakugo for the first time, Bakugo like threw that huge explosion at him.
Oh yeah, with the sweat
when he built it up in the gauntlet, yeah, and he's still like he was really hurt, but like with no all for one, like
one for all, I mean.
One for all, yeah. He's still like tanked it pretty well. Like, he was still able to do, like, a full, Detroit smash after that.
Not to mention that in Season 3, when Muscular fought Deku, one punch from Muscular straight up broke all... Like, Deku even explained that, like, all the bones in his... Like, most of the bones in his body were broken, and Deku still fought Muscular.
Yeah, so, like...
So Deku get hurt pretty badly, but he can still strain himself to fight.
Right. He's got, like, a high pain tolerance kind of thing.
Yeah. Granted, after that Muscular fight, like, he had to be strapped to the back of that one guy with, like, the quirk with, like, the extra limbs because he couldn't do shit anymore, but, like, still.
Yeah. So, long story short, like, Deku can probably be... So yeah, Deku's durability is large explosion, maybe like... Or no, that wasn't even his best feat, actually. Because, like, he was taking, like, punches from a suppressed All Might that was, like, tearing down, like, that city block.
With just one punch.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Deku's durability is easily, like, yeah, with his quirk activated, like, city block level. With no quirk, it's explosion level.
Not to mention that All Might propelled himself off a building and, like, slammed Deku into his back.
Yeah.
Which finished Deku down. So, like, with any normal person that would get hit by that, their spinal cord would be broken. Like, they would be paralyzed. But Deku still got up and fought.
And, yeah, a lot of people are going to say, like, you know, the gauntlets All Might had were holding him back. And even then, All Might wasn't in his prime. But, like...
All Might straight up told Deku Bakugo, I'm not going easy on you.
Yeah, like, so he was being suppressed from, like, old age and these gauntlets.
And his, like, tearing his, like, stomach.
Yeah, that's, like, kind of the old age thing I was bringing up. But he was still, like... He was still really fucking strong, dude.
And like I said, like, he straight up told Deku and Bakugo that, like, he basically was telling them, I'm not going to hold your hand through your whole journey. Like, I'm about to show you what, like, a real fight, like, feels like.
Right.
Not to mention that 100% Deku, like, yeah, 100% Deku, he bodied Overhaul. Like, Overhaul's whole quirk and whole thing was he can literally, like, touch you and you would explode. Overhaul was just, like, doing all these explosions, and 100% Deku was flying through them like it was nothing.
Right. So, okay. So
I feel like...
Yeah, go ahead.
So I feel... Sorry, I keep it RT. I just feel like 100% Deku. I just feel like Deku at 100%.
No, go ahead.
Easily, like, city...
No, go ahead.
City explosion surviving level.
Yeah.
It's like... So he probably, like, survived a city explosion. I want to say, like, a freaking, like, state explosion.
Oh, yeah, no,
like,
that would... No.
But I feel like if, like, a town, like, blew up, like, he would survive.
Yeah. So, you want to go on to Ruby now for durability?
I'll make this quick. She's a glass cannon.
Yeah.
Ruby is a huge... See, it's weird because I love Ruby so much, but all my friends know that when it comes to, like, any game, whether it be a fighting game, an RPG, or anything, I value defense more than anything. So, for one of my favorite characters in a show to be, like, someone, like, with the least defense, like... So basically, like, when it comes to Team Ruby, everyone has their thing, and, like, Yang, in my opinion, is probably MVP of the team.
Oh, easily, dude.
Blake is, like, the
Weiss's MVP for sure. Like, puts in the most work.
Like, why stays taking L's? Like, Weiss has never, like...
the Vegeta of the team.
Like, I don't think there's ever a single, like, arc where Weiss did get beat down. Like, shit, Cinder damn near killed her. But, no, but, like, we've seen Team Ruby go through so much shit. Like, Weiss got stabbed by a staff from Cinder, who, like I said, is basically one of the gods. Right. And granted, even though it was with John's healing, Weiss was still able to kind of, like, hold on to life. And then Blake, oh not Blake, but Yang. Yang practically just can't get hurt. Yang's whole semblance is the more she gets hurt, the stronger she gets. So if anything, Yang wants to get hurt.
Well, I mean,
And
yeah,
Yang,
but like, obviously, your durability does tap out at some point.
yeah, you gotta realize in season 2, Yang was like, Ronan like was in like a giant mech that not even Yang's punches could damage, and he picked her Yang up and threw her into a pillar. And the whole, like, half of the bridge collapsed on Yang, and Yang just got right back up like it was nothing.
Right. So...
But, Blake has survived, like, in season 5, I believe, Blake has survived stabs and burned, and, like, it survived a burning, like, house, a burning mansion, and she was still fine. But throughout the whole series, every single time Ruby got hit, Ruby was out.
Yeah.
Like... I keep going back to this one scene, but her fight with Mercury, like where she tried to get past Mercury to get her scythe in season 3, Mercury did one kick on her, and Ruby automatically just like went the opposite way. Like Ruby was automatically done with that fight. She didn't get up and start fighting it because Ruby was injured.
Yeah.
And not to mention that, like, in almost like every season, like, granted, Ruby doesn't get hit a lot because Ruby's super fast, so it's like her semblance is like, when she's mad, her semblance is basically the speed of light, and she obviously is like, she's obviously really hard to touch, so that's her whole thing. But if Deku lands one hit on Ruby, Ruby's done.
She going night night.
Yeah, like Ruby's knocked out. Like Ruby's a huge glass cannon.
Okay, so you want to go into like kind of how the fight would like go down?
Well, we also have to cover like their ultimate attacks and like their weaknesses.
Okay, yeah. So I feel like I've already gone over like Deku's weaknesses quite a bit, like because literally using his power is his only weakness. Like like you brought up something earlier that was like perfect for, like, it's a constant Kaioken.
Yeah,
like he's
Deku's
constantly breaking himself down to get stronger. Like
not only that,
like at like 8% is the only like, which yeah, we've already said he can do like a lot of damage at 8% and go pretty fast. But that 8% is the only place he can stay without hurting himself. Like, even just 20%, he was like, straining pretty freaking hard.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'd say Deku's weakness is that, and his strongest attack literally being his Detroit Smash.
Well, the strongest attack we actually seen Deku do was his 1,000,000%.
Yes. Okay. So, yeah, that's his strongest feat, is like his 1,000,000%, which, obviously scaling to the overhaul fight, we could say that's fucking, I'm not good at math. It's 10 times like stronger than anything he did in that fight. Or no, wait, I'm stupid. 1,000,000, not 1,000. You know what I mean? It's way stronger.
Granted, Deku at 1,000,000%, like, was able to like do a lot of damage to muscular and everything. That is his greatest feat. But you gotta realize, after that whole forest arc, Deku was literally in a state of comatose for a while. Like, he was straight up a vegetable.
Yeah.
Until he got healed up.
It's his ultimate attack, but like that was one of the reasons I didn't like have that down, was because that's not something he can just use.
Yeah, I think they even straight up said if it wasn't for Recovery Girl, Deku would probably be paralyzed.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, his strongest attack being the Detroit Smash, which, probably like, at most, it's city block level. like, at 100%, yeah, we're looking at, like, skyscraper or so level. Or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait. City block level is actually more impressive, yeah. So, like, yeah. I'd say, like, 20% is probably city block level, and then 100% is just, 100% of that.
Yeah, and it's funny because, well, Deku's ultimate attack is kind of useless in this fight. So is Ruby's.
Yes.
Allow me to explain.
Ruby can only use the Silver Eyes thing if something, like, really traumatic has happened.
Well, no, because in Season 7, she can actually use it at will. Like, she hasn't fully mastered it yet, but she can still use it.
She's an omen.
Basically. But what makes it useless is what makes it useless is kind of like, so to all about Dragon Ball fans, y'all know Gogeta, right? Best boy? Yeah. Alright, Gogeta best fusion. Alright, we already elaborated that. Gogeta's Soul Punisher is kind of similar to Ruby's Silver Eyes. It only works against people with evil souls.
Yeah.
But because, like, and I know this because at the end of Season 7, Ruby looked at Cinder, and, like, Ruby was in a room with Cinder, Penny, and Weiss's sister. Ruby used her Silver Eye thing, and it knocked Cinder out of the room. While Weiss, Penny, and Weiss's sister were completely fine. Not only that, but in Season 6, when they were fighting those Grimm that, like, makes them, like, basically lose all motivation, Ruby used her Silver Eyes in the room, and she was right in front of that old lady, and it only killed the Grimm. It did not hurt anyone in any way, shape, or form. So I would probably agree that I probably
it wouldn't affect Deku.
Yeah, it wouldn't, because Deku's obviously pure of heart. And if you are, well, Deku's not pure of heart. Maybe Deku did this. Like, no, Stain straight up says in Season 2, "Yo, kid, you're pure of heart. Like, I don't want to fight you."
Yeah.
So the fact that a freaking serial killer is telling you, like, "Yo, you pure of heart. I don't want to kill you. Like, you're pure of heart." Like, so.
Well, I mean, yeah, because, like, his beef wasn't, like... His beef was, like, with the corruptment in, like, hero society, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, my thing is, Ruby's Silver Eyes will be completely useless. Maybe like in the future, like maybe when Ruby keeps going on, maybe like maybe the Silver Eyes could be used as like a power up, and then we can come back to this like for like a part 2. But as of now, Silver Eyes is basically just used to like destroy any evil thing or injure any evil thing, and Deku obviously isn't evil, so
Something
basically Ruby would do
equipment
Ruby
you
uses
didn't quite bring up was Ruby's like dust, like how she has like a bunch of different like elements.
Oh yeah, for gunshots. Yep. Oh shit, yeah, she yeah, that is one thing about dust. Like Ruby can use like different elements for her. So like nowadays Ruby doesn't only just use guns, like bullets for her like sniper and shotgun, but she can also like add these things called dust, which is kind of basically like ammo. And she can shoot like these electric shots. She can shoot like these like dark shots. She can shoot like some kind of gravity. The gravity thing was only shown in Ruby Chibi, but like it's something. She can shoot something that like affects gravity, but like it makes her go flying back.
Yeah.
But yeah, but if Ruby used her Silver Eyes, Deku would literally just be like, "Y'all hear something?" Like
Yeah.
it wouldn't work. And then as for Ruby's weaknesses,
Detroit Smash goes burr.
But yeah, for Ruby's weaknesses, I already kind of touched up how she's a glass cannon.
And
but I also
without her scythe sort of thing.
Yeah, without her scythe, she's kind of useless. So all Deku needs to do is just like knock that scythe out of her hand, and she would basically be rendered useless unless she uses her speed to get to it again.
Yeah.
But another weakness I also have with Ruby is she's too timid. By that I mean like she's Ruby's not afraid to throw hands. Like Ruby has killed armies upon armies of Grimm, but when it comes to like fighting someone that she believes is stronger than them physically, she gets scared. And this is shown when she fought Tyrion, that Scorpion dude, in season 4. That Tyrion guy, like
scared. She just got like beat into submission and then got scared.
Well, like, well, no, because she was so dodged all of his attacks, but then when he was about to attack her, like, she kind of just stood there, like, frozen in fear. That's when Crow had to come and save her.
I feel like she got, like, hit before that and, like, kind of, like, beat on a little bit.
I think she did. I think he landed, like, a few good hits on her.
Yeah. Even after that, in that fight, though, like, she was still trying to snipe, like...
Yeah, But yeah, I feel like Ruby's two main weaknesses is she relies too much on her scythe, and she's a glass cannon.
Yeah.
Alright, so I believe that actually does it for the stats, honestly.
So I guess now, like, how kind of each of their, like, you know, how they would clash, how they would deal with one another.
That'd be like we could probably like make up like the fight as we go, probably.
Yeah. My thing is, you know, Deku's obviously smart, and he's fought people like Stain before, like with bladed weapons. So I feel like he would know to like stay far away and use his
Air Forces.
You gotta remember, Ruby's also very intelligent. Ruby is so intelligent in terms of battle smarts that she was in high school while she was at a middle school age.
Right.
Because that one woman, like, she was like, she saw Ruby fight the Ronin when he was robbing that dust store, and
Yeah,
she was like,
episode 1, like.
Yeah, episode 1, and she was like, "Yo, you're awesome. You coming to Beacon?" She's like, "But I'm in middle school." She's like, "Don't care. You coming to Beacon?"
Yeah, you coming with me?
It would be cool to add like a little storyline to this, but
okay, sure, yeah. So, shoot, I don't know, like.
it could be honestly because Ruby could look very intimidating with like. Honestly, it could be like a huge misunderstanding.
Ruby is not what I'd think of when I think of intimidating.
Well, no, but like, think about it. Every single person Deku has fought that has weapons has been evil.
Yeah.
And Ruby has fought some really fucked up people, like fucked up looking people. So it could be like a huge misunderstanding where like Ruby sees the veins like glowing on Deku and automatically assumes that he's just like a villain, and Deku could like see Ruby with the scythe and automatically assume that she's like a villain.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, that works. So, yeah, I feel like Deku would, like, immediately know, like, okay, like, she's got a scythe, I can't get in too close. Hello? The hell happened? You muted yourself.
Sorry, my mom, my sister came to my room.
Okay, I thought something went wrong for a second, like, on my end.
Yeah, no, you're good. So,
yeah. You know, obviously, Deku would, at first, try to use, like, the Air Force thing. Like, not wanting to get in too close. But
and I feel like Ruby.
He definitely wouldn't expect Ruby to, you know, her scythe to be a gun sort of thing.
I feel like she would like dash back and forth, like shooting. Like, I feel like she would know that. Like, I feel like Ruby would be smart enough to know that like bullets won't work against like the wind pressure.
Yeah.
So I feel like she used her elemental shots, and I feel like that would probably go through Deku's wind pressure. Deku would be like, "Yo, what the fuck?"
Right.
Hopefully this video doesn't get demonetized because I just said that.
You said something about Corona earlier. I think we're fine.
So, yeah, I feel like it would just be like a huge range fight, but you gotta realize, while Deku is like unlimited on his like wind pressure, Ruby's limited on ammo.
Yes.
So I feel like it'd be like a back and forth. Like Deku would hit Ruby a few times with the wind pressure, and Ruby would hit Deku a few times with the element stuff. But I feel like Ruby would eventually run out of ammo, and would have to get up close and personal.
I kind of imagine this cool fight where they're like, maybe in like a rundown city or something, and they're both like going for cover and shit. Like almost like an actual shoot off.
Yeah.
Like Ruby's trying to find places to snipe, Deku's just trying to kind of come up with a plan.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, I feel like when Deku like tries to range Ruby, she would probably like easily use her semblance to like dash through the wind pressure. Like it can't be like it won't be like she can't go through it because remember Ruby can split herself up into like different parts.
Yeah.
And when she does that, he can actually fake out Deku because he wouldn't know which one to shoot.
Right.
And I feel like with that, she would get up close and personal, and I feel like she would slash Deku, but Deku would like quickly back away.
Nah, or he'd do that thing he did against Bakugo, like literally throw her over his shoulder.
Oh yeah, that.
Like kind of redirect it.
Yeah.
This is a really interesting fight because I feel like it's literally a matter of who hits who first.
That is true.
Like, and they're both smart, but I feel like Deku is like... I feel like Deku's a little better at, like, reading what his opponent can do.
Yeah, Deku because Deku, I feel like Deku would have the upper hand in this because he has fought like enemies with like weapons before.
Yeah.
But like you gotta remember, Deku hasn't fought anyone that can like with like a weapon like Ruby's scythe.
Right, but yeah, it's like he would be like long range and that would throw him off, but he has plenty of like long-ranged attacks. He even has heavy long-ranged attacks with, like, his Delaware Smash.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, like, Ruby can easily like, close the distance with her semblance.
Yeah.
I feel like that will probably be the whole fight, because Deku would know not to get slashed by Crescent Rose. And honestly, I can see this battle taking place in the woods.
Yeah. That could... yeah.
I feel like there would be like this one part where Deku just backs off, like from Ruby's slash, and he sees how easy she cuts a tree in half, and he's like, "Oh shit, I cannot get hit by that."
Right.
I feel like as Ruby's closing in, like she would probably like try to shoot regular bullets because you gotta remember like the whole entire range part at the beginning, like Ruby was using her like dust, but she wasn't using bullets. I feel like she would like try to like turn sights as a shotgun and shoot while she's closing the distance to try to cross up Deku, try to like fake him out,
break them ankles.
Yeah, basically.
I feel like Deku would, he'd know to stay away and use his Air Force to like
counter.
Yeah, to like counter. And like as soon as he sees the distance start to like, as soon as he sees, like, oh, she's closing the distance, he could use, like, a full-on Delaware Smash to, like, kind of blow her back, because, like, those are way stronger than, like, the little air, like, bullets he shoots.
Yeah, I feel like he would land that, and then, like, Ruby would probably use, like, the gun, like, the blast of the side to, like, slow down her momentum so she could do, like, a smooth landing and not freaking crash. But I feel like one thing that will happen is like Ruby would still try to close the distance, and then she would propel herself off her scythe, and then she would kick Deku like in the arm and like send him flying. even though this would like obviously injure Deku, I feel like Deku would just be perfectly. I feel like Deku would be fine from that.
Yeah.
Because like we said, granted, even though it's like 10,000 like force, like even though it's 10,000 pounds of force, like
yeah,
Deku's durability
Deku's tanked worse.
Yeah, I think Deku said that Muscular's punch was like a couple tons.
Yeah, I don't really know the exact number, but he said it was like a bunch of tons of like force like coming down on him.
So like obviously it would injure Deku. Deku would be like, what the hell? But like I feel like that Deku would still like kind of like be fine. Like Deku would obviously get back up.
Yeah, Deku's like, I don't know, obviously he's like very emotional, but I feel like in like a fight he's very level-headed.
Yeah.
Because like Todoroki, that entire fight with Todoroki, he was like literally thinking through like, you know, how his quirk works and how he can counter it. Plus
Deku's good at ranging because Deku would like throughout this whole fight when Ruby's trying to close the range, Deku would easily be able to range because that's basically what Deku vs Todoroki was. Todoroki was constantly trying to close the gap with his ice, and Deku was just ranging really well.
Yeah. And
so,
it wouldn't even be as much of a problem as Todoroki was because he has the smaller air bullets, so he doesn't have to break his finger every time.
Yeah.
So he would have a lot easier of a time keeping Ruby away than he did with Todoroki.
Yeah. And so I feel like Ruby's semblance and speed, it'd basically be a chasing game right now. With Ruby basically chasing after Deku because like I said, Ruby's kind of like in like a fighting mood, but she's not really mad, so I feel like she's like going at her like hypersonic speed while Deku's going supersonic speed, so like their speed will be relatively the same around this part.
Yeah.
So like Deku would be able, like, even though Ruby would still be like a little bit faster, Deku would still be able to like outmaneuver her.
Yeah.
Because you gotta remember, like, Deku has a lot more like training on like the battlefield because Deku's still in UA and still learning, while like Ruby's school was destroyed, so she hasn't really been taught any like new methods.
Right.
So like in terms of battle smarts, like Deku would obviously like have better like battle smarts.
And that's like Deku's entire like thing is the fact that, you know, because his body like crumbles apart from his own strength, he has to fight like as smart as he can.
Not only that, but he literally keeps a handbook and studies all of his friends' quirks.
Yeah.
So, because I think it was during the tournament arc when Bakugo was fighting Uraraka, like he was literally like writing down like some of Uraraka's like because Uraraka did a lot of crazy shit in her fight with Bakugo, and Deku was straight up writing that shit down in his book.
Yeah. Honestly, what I think is that all Deku would have to do, you know, like they're chasing each other around. I think he goes to 20 or even 100%. You know, gets that speed increase. Even if he's not as fast as Ruby, I feel like the increase would catch her off guard, and he could, like, basically sneak her.
And like I did kind of mention this, I feel like when he would 20%, he would like go and punch. Like he probably like they would probably get tired of this whole chasing. He would go 20% and like dash at Ruby, catch her off guard. I feel like he would like punch her. And, like, she would block with Crescent Rose. And I feel like Crescent Rose would be able to tank a hit of 20% Deku.
She would still go flying, though.
Yeah, no. Like I said, like, Crescent Rose would be able to tank it. But the immense force of Deku's punch would just send Ruby still, like, flying.
Yeah.
And I feel like she would just, like, crash down. And obviously, like, when she got up, she would be injured. And she would be, like, a lot more, like, winded than Deku was from her kick. Like I said, she's a glass cannon, but I feel like she still would be able like to get back up and like toss some hands.
Yeah.
And then this is when I feel like it'll be, and I feel like that's when like the whole thing will like kind of turn around. The chasing game will turn around. It'll be like now Deku's chasing Ruby.
Yeah.
And like Ruby's trying distance, and then Deku is trying distance. I feel like that would just be like the whole fight though. But you gotta remember, Ruby's also smart herself. So, granted, like she's like really like silly, but Ruby has like shown smart. Like I feel like Ruby shows a lot of smartness, like in like the later seasons, like the most recent seasons when she's like acting as a leader.
Yeah. My thing about that though is, I know she's obviously like smart. I just think Deku's like way smarter in comparison.
Yeah. I feel like Deku is like a lot smarter in the comparison, but I do feel like Ruby would be smart enough.
Ruby isn't dumb. Like,
Ruby's not dumb. She's just like she's like an airhead.
Yeah.
But I feel like Ruby would like know like when to like. I feel like Ruby would eventually realize that like Deku's quirk is like slowly injuring him.
Yeah.
So like,
you're saying she would try to stall him out.
Yes. Like I feel like once he goes 20%, because like I said, Deku starts getting hurt when he gets 20%. I feel like that's when like I feel like Ruby will kind of see like his face kind of like strain like every once in a while, kind of like flinch every once in a while, and I feel like that's when Ruby will realize, oh, this is hurting.
Yeah.
And I honestly feel like that like I feel like it would be like I feel like Ruby would try to stall a lot, but I feel like it would get to the point where like Deku would eventually catch up because, like I said, 20% Deku, like he's a lot faster, and Ruby's not necessarily mad yet. So she isn't at her like light speed feet yet.
Yeah.
And I feel like Deku would eventually like, catch up to Ruby, and like we'll get like a few good hits on her, and her like blocking with Crescent Rose like each time. But
right.
even though Crescent Rose is super durable, like extremely durable, it can only take so many hits from a 20% Deku.
Yeah.
And this is when I feel like the real fight starts. Deku punches Crescent Rose, and Crescent Rose was like Ruby's baby. Like Ruby loves it.
Yeah.
And not only that, but Crescent Rose also belonged to her. Like, wasn't Crescent Rose also like based off her mother's weapon?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like when Deku punches it, like after a while, Crescent Rose will crack. I wouldn't say necessarily break, but I feel like a crack will appear on it, and that's what will like really piss off Ruby.
Okay.
And I feel like she'll start by like trying to use her eye thing and like get pissed off and basically say like some shit like I had enough and like try to use her eye thing on him.
And it wouldn't work. Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't work. And like I feel like she'll be confused. And I feel like Deku would like from her confusion, Deku would like land like a clean blow on her. And even though Ruby is a glass cannon, like she would obviously be severely injured from this attack. But I feel like Ruby would still be like, because Ruby has done this a few times throughout the show. She'll be too mad to like. This kind of like in general too. Like sometimes you're just too mad to realize the pain.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what happened to her. Like she'll be like she would honestly be like super winded from that like clean hit from Deku. But I feel like she'll be too pissed off to kind of realize it. And then she'll start using her light speed type of shits.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what will like catch like Deku off guard. Like Deku will be like, "Yo, like, what in the world is happening right now?"
And here's my thing with that, right?
Yeah.
Deku's like faced people who are faster than him before, because like when he was training with Gran Torino.
Oh yeah, Gran Torino's slapping him around.
Yeah, so I feel like it would be like that. Like, Deku's just blitzing, or no, Ruby's just blitzing him, like, every way to Sunday. And, like, eventually, like, and Deku did this against Overhaul, too. Like, he would recognize the patterns of, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the patterns of her attacks and, like, start dodging based on, like...
Yeah.
Like, he's good at, like, reading stuff like that.
Yeah. And then I feel like in like Ruby's like lightning speed, I do feel like she would like I feel like this will make like Deku like realize that like she's a no joke. I feel like she'll get one slash off on him with Crescent, like not enough to like cut him in half or anything, but I feel like he would dodge just in time to dodge her Crescent Rose. But I do feel like he'll get like a huge gash on him, like either whether he's be his back or like his front side. I feel like he would like get like a gash on him.
Yeah.
And that's when he realizes, I gotta end this. And honestly, I feel like that's what
I said, like, the Gran Torino thing. I think after, like, you know, a while of that, like, you know, he gets, like, the gash, like, he just barely is able to dodge it.
Yeah.
I want to say that he could, like, literally just, like, wait, you know, like, you know, wait for her to attack again. Like, and as soon as she's, like, about to go 100% and just, like, you know, like, tag her, pretty much.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was thinking, too. I feel like, and even though Ruby would, like, as much as Ruby would ignore the pain because she's angry, I feel like when she goes into attack and Deku hits her with 100%, with 100%, like, probably Detroit Smash,
Yeah.
I feel like that would knock her out. Definitely knock her out.
I feel like that's it, like...
And, like I said, that would be a good fight. Like obviously, 100% Detroit Smash from Deku would obviously knock out Ruby, and I feel like that's when the fight would end. Like Ruby would just be out for the count.
Yeah.
Honestly, Deku would also be like out for the count because he used 100%. So his arms like broken
dude,
from that.
You could fill up Tupperware containers with what would be left of Ruby, dude.
Yeah. But like, granted, Deku's arm would be broken, and he would be like out too.
But the fight would be done. Like,
yeah, in the end, Deku would win.
Yes.
And like that, it would be a really good fight. They
definitely like counter each other in very like interesting ways.
Yeah, Deku and Ruby are both like really like strong like anime characters, but
yes, Ruby's an anime. Don't at me.
Yeah, I think of anime as like a style, not like it has to be made in Japan.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
But I feel like Ruby Ruby does counter Deku in terms of like weapon usage and like speed. But what honestly ended the whole fight for her, like what made her lose that, was defense.
Yeah.
Because if she probably had like the tankiness level of Yang, she would probably survive that. She would be like super injured, but I feel like she would survive that. But it says Ruby.
I think the main thing, right, is literally just how smart Deku is and how much like he's obviously inexperienced, but he has fought like more diverse opponents than Ruby has.
Yeah. Not to mention that, like, he fought someone that can like blow someone up with a touch. He fought a serial killer that can like paralyze you. He's fought so many different enemies. So like, even though Ruby would have like all these abilities that would catch him off guard, he would eventually kind of like adapt to them, kind of like Hit.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, like Deku's smarts and Ruby's like lack in like durability is what caused her to lose that fight.
Yeah, she has speed, but like that's it, sort of thing.
Yeah, and her Crescent Rose may be like really like sharp and it can like cut basically anything. But I feel like one cut on Deku, like obviously Deku will try to dodge it because simple common sense, like who the fuck will be like, yo, hit it with your scythe.
Yeah.
I feel like she would get like a few clean hits on Deku barely, not enough to cut him in half, but like I feel like he would dodge like just barely to get cut, and he would like, and just by her cutting that tree, like Deku would automatically know like I can't get hit by this. Like for Stain, like Deku was and for Stain, like for every person he fought that had a weapon, like he had a reason to like dodge their weapon. Like for Stain, he was like I can't get hit by this because I can't get cut by him because even though like the blade won't do a lot of damage, he'll paralyze me, something like that. So for like Ruby, he'd be like, "Yo, like this blade is like dangerous. This blade can literally cut me in half. Like I gotta dodge this."
No, dude, like that scythe is like anything but subtle. He would definitely know to like that would be the first thing. He's just like, wow, let me not let you hit me with that.
Yeah. I feel like the whole thing of the battle would be like when Deku goes 20% and goes on the offensive. I feel like Ruby's running from him. I feel like his main goal would be to try and knock Crescent Rose out of Ruby's hands. Hence, like why like all of his punching to Crescent Rose. But then I feel like once it cracks, Ruby gets mad. She'll go on the offensive, and that's when Deku uses that to his
Facebook Messenger right now?
Yeah, why?
Wow, I mean that little you, huh?
What?
Straight up, like I'm not your top priority right now.
No. I just got my chapel. My chapel just went up.
Ah, no, I see how it is, man.
No, someone texted the Naruto group chat we're in.
Continue, I'm fucking with you, dude.
All right. But yeah, so I feel like so in the end, like Ruby does have more speed, but like Deku has more battle experience because like his school isn't destroyed.
Yeah.
And he's just fought like, and even though Ruby, everyone has a semblance, everyone mainly uses their weapons to fight. Like people just use their semblance as kind of like an assist, while in My Hero, everyone's quirks are like their main thing. So like,
and one thing we didn't even bring up, right, is Deku's like iron heal things, because I didn't even think of this till now. He could literally block a couple of like hits with those.
Oh yeah, he can. Yeah, and like there are some people in Ruby that like their whole fight gimmick is their semblance. Like for example, like Neo, like
yeah,
what she does is basically she waits for them to attack her and she warps reality to get the upper hand. But like a lot of people like Blake, she fights with her like little like blade on a string, and she only uses her semblance right when she's about to get attacked to make a mirage of herself, stuff like that. Like people mainly use their semblance as like a support. That's basically what Ruby did in this fight. Like she used her semblance just to catch up with Deku, but she mainly tried to fight with her Crescent Rose.
Right.
While My Hero, like people that had weapons, it was the weapons their weapons were the support and the quirks were their main thing.
Yeah.
Like you can argue that Stain's main thing was his weapon, but technically, like he needed to hit them, he needed to cut them with his sword to lick the blood to use his quirk.
Yeah.
Same with Toga as well. Like she has that like machine on her,
yeah,
so she can suck the blood. So like it. So yeah, like just overall,
even, like with like Uraraka, it was shown like heroes are like trained to like be able to deal with weapons. Like the most basic training is like, yeah, if someone has a knife, literally take it from them. Like,
yeah. So Deku would know like how to counter like Ruby Scythe very well. Like I said, I feel like he would get slashed a few times, but like not like fully on. I feel like he would dodge just enough to get like these gashes, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like those gashes won't really do anything because, like I said, like Deku has broken bones and still got up and fought.
Right.
So like it. So yeah, Deku. So basically, this fight, Deku versus Ruby, like I said, like Ruby is a strong like character, but this fight is basically the prime example of speed isn't always most important. Like
speed is usually like what makes or breaks a fight.
But like if you have all speed, but like no defense. The second you get hit, like, you're done. That's exactly what happened to Ruby. She got hit by Deku's 100%
like
punch.
the problem with glass cannons, like.
Yeah, like, and Deku kind of had it, like, and the reason why Deku won this fight was because, like, even though Deku was obviously, like, prioritized more in strength, he was also kind of, like, balancing everything. Like, he had defense, he had speed, he wasn't nearly as fast as Ruby, but he was still fast to keep up with her when she wasn't.
Right.
Not to mention that Deku could have also used the trees to his advantage, because what Ruby did with her semblance is she could easily, like, split herself into, like, different petals to fake, like, Deku out.
Yeah.
And that would, like, confuse Deku at times. But, like, Deku could easily use... Because he could easily use Gran Torino's training to jump from tree to tree and, like, jump around. Because that's exactly what Deku did. Like, when he fought Night Eye, he was jumping all over the room.
Right.
And that would also fake out Ruby.
Yeah, no, what it really comes down to is, like, Deku's versatility, really.
Yeah.
Like, and just how smart he is.
I also feel like that... like, Ruby... If Ruby had, like, the defense capabilities of Yang, she probably would have survived that 100... Like, obviously she'd be severely injured from that 100% punch, but, like, she would survive and still be able to fight. But Ruby, with the defense she has now, like, she died.
Yeah.
Like, she's done. Freaking part 2. Just Yang's revenge.
Yang's revenge.
Yang just finds Deku, like, you took everything from me. Deku's like, I don't even know who you are.
Right.
Yeah, we're recording Endgames. We just finished, like, a freaking anime character debate, now we're recording Endgame.
Right. Right,
Honestly,
so do you want to, like, hit an outro real quick, or?
What will the outro even be? This is our first time doing this.
I don't know, dude. Just go with your gut, man, dude. Just do an outro. Gotta start somewhere.
Well, that concludes this debate. With the battle between Deku and Ruby, Deku would win. Ruby would truly be a fierce competitor, but Deku would still, like, in the end, come out on top.
Buy my mixtape.
Yeah, buy his mixtape. Android 21's Best Girl in Dragon Ball. Noir's Best Girl in Hyperdimension Neptunia.